Yes, so the why masks is the important thing that we should aware is that it can reduce the risk of spreading the viruses, but the masks can also spread the viruses if you don't use properly. And it needs to be, we need to aware that masks are just an additional protection, and the most important things are like the clean, disinfect the hands, wash hand regularly, and use the disinfection to clean up, to keep hands clean, and also the safety distance we should keep. Upon those things, wearing masks can reduce the risks of spreading the viruses. And but it can also spread the viruses because it catches the virus. So if you touch, for example, there are a lot of virus on the mask, so it's going to be the opposite purpose for that. So it needs to be, we need to remember that point. And I will explain it later when we check how to use the masks. I will explain it better. And then also we should be aware of physical conditions, such as like if you have some illness that the masks, wearing the masks can be dangerous for those person who has the illness, because it's more difficult to breathe. So we need to be careful to wearing the masks, or who can wear the masks, and so on. So that point we need to think about it as well. And also the age, if the small, it's not recommended for the smaller kids. I don't know, I haven't found like a certain age limit, but for the small children, it's difficult to breathe, as well as it's difficult to use the masks properly. I think that's also the reason that it's not recommended for the smaller kids. Here I'm going to explain what are the civil masks. So the civil masks are the masks that are not regulated in a certain way. The other one is the surgical masks that are they have the certain criteria that they need to meet, and those so-called civil masks, they are not, they don't have that kind of like a clarification criteria of that it needs to meet. And for example, the ones that we are going to make, it's like handmade, homemade cloth face masks are also called civil masks. And it's not proved that it can reduce the risks of spreading the virus, but in some way it can be said that it's better than nothing to have the filter, even it's not, it doesn't meet the certain criteria. So that's the idea of the civil masks, but it's so it cannot be used in any like a healthcare or those places. Those places in those places, they need to use the surgical masks that meet the criteria of the certain criteria. And there are a lot of recommendations in different countries. I found this information from Finnish Institute of Occupational Health. Is it TTL? Is it TTL? Yeah, I think it was TTL. Yes, and then they recommended that, okay, use the thin cloth because it gets harder if it gets harder to breathe if the material is thick. And also they recommended that use only 1 or 2 layers of cloth. At some in some, I think in some website, I think it was the European standard or something like that. They recommended maximum 3 layers. So they said that 2 to 3 layers are good for the masks, but in Finland it is recommended to 1 to 2 layers. So today I'm going to introduce 1 to 2 layers. And then materials that can be materials that to be used should be washed in 90 degrees, or should be can be washed in 90 degrees. Some websites said that the minimum is 60 degrees, but the higher is better, and they are recommending that 90 degrees are better, the recommended, or even boiling the masks.